Welcome back everyone. In this video we will talk about the classification of options. As mentioned in other videos, the value of an option contract depends on many factors. Among the most important is the strike price, or the exercise price of the option, and the relative distance between the underlying price. The strike price can be either close to the price of the underlying, or above it, or below it. When the strikes are equal, or close to the underlying price, we will name these options at the money, ATM. When the strikes are lower than the underlying price, we will name, in the money, ITM, the calls, and, out of the money, OTM, the puts. When the strikes are higher than the underlying price, we will name, in the money, ITM, the puts, and, out of the money, OTM, the calls. Let's take an example. If the underlying SP 500 beats 3,000 points, the call 2900 will be ITM, and the put 2900 will be OTM, because the strike of both options is lower than the value of the underlying. On the contrary, a call 3100 will be OTM, while a put 3100 will be ITM, because the strike of the options is higher than the value of the underlying. A call and a put 3000 will instead be ATM, because the strike price corresponds to the value of the underlying price. Those options with strike price very far from the underlying price are called deep OTM or deep ITM. There is more though. We can divide the option price into two very specific parts, both contribute to forming the price: the intrinsic value and the time value. The intrinsic value is easily calculated and is represented by the difference between the price of the underlying and the strike price of the option. The time value, instead, is composed of two important variables. The first one can be easily calculated, it is the passage of time, or how many days are left to expiration. The second one is more difficult to calculate, it is the volatility. The first is a known value. The second is a mathematical value that depends on the expectation of movement of market prices within that period of time. The ITM options have intrinsic value and time value. The ATM and OTM options have only time value. Traders who buy ATM and OTM options pay only time value. Calculating the time value of an ITM option is relatively simple. Suppose we have a 2850 call in our portfolio that we paid 219 points and the underlying beats 3000 at this very moment. The intrinsic value will be 3000 minus 2850. 150 points. To reach 219 it takes 69, which is therefore the time value. As you can see, the intrinsic value and the time value are mirrored on the put side and the call side. Also, please notice that the intrinsic value does not change when the distance from 3000 is the same. More, the time value for ITM calls and OTM puts is greater than the time value for ITM puts and OTM calls in accordance with the volatility skew. The time value is also maximum at the ATM and decreases as you move away from the ATM. In the following figure, we have indicated how the values for each type of option vary. ITM, options. High cost due to intrinsic value. Low time value. High delta, similar to the underlying, with a tendency to increase with the approach of expiration. Low gamma, and decreasing as the expiration approaches. Low theta, and decreasing as expiration approaches. Low vega, and decreasing as expiration approaches. ATM options. Intermediate cost and zero intrinsic value. High time value. Average delta, which tends to remain constant even with the passage of time. High gamma, strongly increasing as expiration approaches. High theta, and decreasing as expiration approaches. High vega, and decreasing as expiration approaches. OTM, options. Low cost, small delta and zero intrinsic value. Small time value. Low delta, and decreasing as expiration approaches. Low gamma, and decreasing as expiration approaches. Low theta, and decreasing as expiration approaches. Low vega, and decreasing as expiration approaches. Thanks for your attention. See you soon.